to the second part of the two-part series with the water element related to the season of winter and helping naturally support some of the symptoms that come up during this season. In the last video, we talked about more of the emotional symptoms that arise in the winter and related to the water element being out of balance. Now we'll talk about more of the physical symptoms that can arise and how we can be able to help take care of them naturally. So with the water element, we tend to develop or experience, if we're dealing with any sort of imbalance, joint pain and discomfort. The water element has much to do with the strength of the bones, and so therefore this is when we start to notice people talking about, oh, my bones ache in the cold, or there's just this kind of heaviness or achiness that might be around when we're experiencing cold. So even think of like cold and flu season, we experience kind of the body aches and the bone type of, almost like we feel bruised in our bones. So this is because the water element is being suppressed. And so we're going to talk about ways to help improve the balance there. So we'll first start out with a few herbs that can be supportive. So this you might be able to add in with either certain recipes or even in like different smoothies or even as teas. So some warming herbs that you might want to consider using, especially to help counterbalance some of the cold of the winter and of the water element, would be herbs such as cinnamon or clove. So those two, cinnamon and clove, can help more in warming benefits. And then the water element is actually known as more of a salty type of taste. So think of, the ocean, it's salt water, that's where we get our salt. So this is where we might want to think of things that pair well with salt. We don't want to overdo eating a ton of salt, but this is actually a time where salt can maybe be actually supportive in small amounts. So things like dill actually really are a good idea during the winter season, as well as fennel. So those are a few herbs to consider, again, in recipes or herbs or in tinctures. So that would be cinnamon, clove, dill, and fennel. Next, we'll talk about a few essential oil options. So this you would maybe do more of like applying in a few areas, like we'll talk about a few of the acupressure points that you could possibly use some of these, or having it diffused in the air more as an aromatherapy. So we'll start out with, so each of these are going to help both the bladder and kidney meridians, which in Chinese medicine are the two acupuncture channels that are related to the water element. They're ones that go up the legs, and then for the bladder it goes up the back and up the head, whereas the kidney meridian, it goes more from the inside of the feet up through the mid side or middle of the body and ends more in the middle portion of the body. So with these essential oils that we'll want to use, we'll start with ones that help specifically more for the bladder, both the organ as well as the channel, both the bladder and kidney. And then we'll talk about some that can help more with the joint pain and discomfort that we were talking about as some of the symptoms that arise when our water element is out of balance. So the first essential oil that you might want to consider using would be juniper berry. So this is really great for the bladder and the kidney in particular, and it can have some effects on the joint, but less. More specifically, it helps with the bladder and the kidney. Next would be lemongrass. This is really great for a few different things because it does help with the joints and our aches and pains, but it helps the bladder and kidney meridians and the organs themselves. But it also does have immune boosting support, and it's great actually as like a tea to help boost your immune system. And then we'll move to the next two. So the next one is cypress. So cypress comes from the trees, and this is more for musculoskeletal support. So this would also be really good to use on those acupressure points that we'll go over. And it can also be kind of more of an energizing oil. So this might be nice to diffuse in a diffuser. And then the last one would be cedar wood. So it does a little bit of the opposite from cypress, which is more energizing. Cedar wood is actually supportive of us in terms of sleep, but it also helps with our joints. So you might want to, if you're going to do an acupressure routine with some of the oils, you might want to start your day with cypress and end your day with cedar wood. So now we'll start with a couple of the acupressure points. So the first one, you might not actually want to do any essential oils on because it's near your eyes, and you don't want to get any essential oils in your eyes. It is not comfortable. So these are the bladder 2 points, and you'll actually come at the inside under your eyebrows, on that inside part of the eyebrow, but just underneath it. So just basically right below where the bone is there and where the hair line of the eyebrows are, and just under there. And what you'll do is you want to put just some gentle pressure there. You don't want to be putting lots of pressure in, but just nice gentle pressure, maybe circular motions there on those bladder 2 points. Each of these acupressure points you want to do for about 30 seconds on each of them. So you'll start here, and nice deep breaths with these. And that could be a great way to both start and end your day if you're dealing with some of the physical symptoms or the emotional symptoms related to water being imbalanced. Next is kidney 27. So this, hopefully you don't get my mic, okay. You're gonna find your collarbones, and right below your collarbones in that indentation, you're going to put a little bit of pressure. I am gonna move the mic over just because it is right in that spot I need to be in. So just below your collarbones, in that indentation below, you're going to put some gentle pressure there. This you could also do kind of like the circular motion there. This is really great for any sort of congestion. So kind of going along with the paralyzed will, it actually helps with, and even the fear, it helps with both the anxiety and depression that we might be holding related to creating some of these emotional blocks. So this is a really great emotional release area, as well as it can help just with the lungs and the chest congestion. Whereas up here, that's more for head congestion. So again, we can get kind of lost in our thoughts and stuck in our thoughts when we're dealing with water imbalance, and we're in more of that paralyzed will, fear, or fearful state. So that's really great for those. The last one is going to be more on our foot. So what you'll want to do is so when you think of the bone of your ankles, so you've got 2 little knobs right on the sides of your ankle. So we're going to go on the inside ankle underneath that bone. So you'll just go ahead and put some gentle pressure right in that indentation below your ankle bone. I'll have a picture here where you can see that on the picture. So, and you'll just put gentle pressure there, and what this is supporting is more for aches and pains of the lower limbs, some for the back too, and that is to support just more of the joint type of discomfort that goes along with the water imbalance, as well as any menstrual types of symptoms that might happen, like just abdominal discomfort or even mood swings. So these are a few acupressure points that you can bring in and use some of those essential oils with to keep yourself balanced during this winter season. We're going to have a couple other videos this month where we'll talk about some more food support during this season. So this will be more related to the book that I'm writing, and I'll just be providing you with some great support to help you in terms of just ways that you can orient some of the foods within your both like your meals, as well as maybe some snacks throughout the day. And then I'll be bringing in my husband, Dr. Dayton. He will come in and he'll talk about a few more supportive options for the joints, and provide a few different exercises and just thoughts related to supporting your joints during this winter season. So if you would like to be able to stay up to date on some of those new videos that will be coming up this month, go ahead and subscribe, and that way you can be able to know right when it's available and be able to start tapping into some of those helpful natural options. So we're so glad to start this year off with you and hope that these practices can be a great support to you and your loved ones during this winter season.